Damn it. Oh, well, I guess we'll just go from here. So, sorry I had a connection drop off, and then it ended the stream, so now I'm going to have two today. Sorry about that. Anyway, I guess we're going to have to pick up from the other one. So, continuing on with the oh man. This just shows the view from Washington Ave. And I don't think I have any Google Street View that would go back to an earlier point in time, but that's sort of the start of the Merrimack River Bridge there. Here we have the D32.8 signal again. I'm sure I know the site. I know of the site that would tell me what that is, but it always takes me a little while to find it because it's like RR signal picks or something. I'm pretty sure that is the one. This is a really nice. The light here at this day was really, really nice, but it was cold as heck. The issue being it's hard. It's easy to forget how cold it can get thanks to climate change. But in this day in 2006, it was ridiculously cold. Easily under 20, probably closer to 10. I think it was like 10 or 11 or 12 degrees, something in there. I was appropriately dressed, but man, my feet got really cold. I think, and the thing is, part of it was our layover was quite long. It wasn't like we were just there for 15 minutes. I think we had a good maybe about an hour. We went down to we had to eventually go down to a cafe and warm up a bit, or a diner that was right there. There's an interesting little quirk on the platform in that there's a little secret stairway that takes you down right to there. Maybe this is a good use of the street view. Yeah, see, there's this. I guess it's a deli now. It was a diner then, but you have this little tiny ramp up there. I'm not sure if it's ADA compliant or anything. I can't quite adjust it. Looks like the bridge has gotten a second coat of paint then, or just that one's lasted that long. How early can I go back? Only 2012. Yeah, it looks like it has gotten at least one extra coat of paint. All right, enough of that. So again, sorry for the drop in connectivity. Here we just have the base, nice General Railway signal branded base there. This was in use up until the 2010s. This was here. I'd have to go and figure out at least up to 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, about in there. It was gone by 2016. So sometime between 2010 and 2016 is when this finally got replaced. And here we just have the westbound view, westbound view of the Merrimack River Bridge in winter. I said it looks pretty nice, but they've got a 10 mile. They still have a 10-mile-an-hour speed restriction on it. I don't know what's going on. They should have fixed it. This is also very early in the morning. This was one of the first eastbound Downeasters. Like I said, this is going to be a fairly short run today. Because this whole set only has about 60 photos. I'm going to break that up into 2 sets of 30. So it'll get you in and out a little quicker. So excellent. I have to say the light at this station and photo op and whatever was absolutely fantastic at this time of the morning. Because my camera wasn't wasn't a Canon, the white balance was spot on. And the super crisp cold air when the air gets cold enough, you don't have any, there's not a lot of moisture, so you don't have any haze. So 16 for anyone who wants to know. I had it lined up here. I thought I did. That's TV tropes. Here we go. I have the roster up. So it's number 1625 would be a looks like either a Comet 2 or a Comet 3 cab car. Made in 1990. So those are still, they probably got another good 10 years left in them. We'll see how long they go. Here we have the little front view of this guy. The MBTA was also pretty proactive. They had a lot of pedestrian warning, little purple flashing lights when trains approach. Anyone who's from Boston probably doesn't consider that news, but it's neat. A lot of, you don't see it exclusively there, but it's a neat system. So this would be right. The MBTA, for those of you who I know that I on transit Twitter, there are all these armchair planners. The MBTA set its timing, how it did its runs, purely by train set. They had a budget to run X crews and AKA train sets, and that's what the schedule is. Exactly like the train set would leave, it would go to the end of the line, it would be a 20-minute turn, then it would go back to Boston. Maybe they get a new crew, maybe not, but that's what between peak and peak in the middle of the day and on weekends. Every line in Boston, with maybe the at least has like one train set going back and forth all day. So on the Haverhill line, you have these weird 73-minute headways between trains, or 80. It's always something just never even close to clock face, and it has to do that they're cycling a train set back and forth and back and forth. What the schedule is, whatever what one train set can provide. Also note something else you don't see anymore here on, I forgot, it's so common you don't even notice it. And I think that they've come off most of their train sets. In 2006, we still have ghetto grills on the MBTA. That was because it's to protect against thrown items. You would think that what's going on with the MBTA? Are they were they paranoid? Or why did the MBTA go in for these? It's because the problem up there was pronounced. It wasn't just that they had happened once and they had some sort of moral panic. I asked people why did they do this? SEPTA didn't do this. NYCTA didn't do this much. Some railroads did it. I think you'd see them occasionally, but the MBTA ghetto grilled all their cab cars and all their engines. And from what I heard, it was because it became a huge pastime for the kids just to rock every train. And they were kind of, they were definitely forced into it. But by this point in time, it had passed. It was definitely a creature of a phenomena of the 80s and maybe the early 90s, 70s and 80s. So here we have our friend number 1625 departing adjacent to our D32.8 signal, or 382 signal. Beautiful. I mean, this is in certain light. My old 3 megapixel camera would really shine, and this is one of those occasions. These photos are excellent, at least in this very specific lighting arrangement. Not this one. It's easy to forget that the MBTA is a huge user of shoreliners, aka comets, whatever you want to call them. The whole Boston scene is so it's easy to just neglect it. It's just so far out there. You don't see a lot of, I don't know. It seems to be its own little rail universe out in Boston. And of course, your GP40MC. These were notorious for that scourge of locomotives everywhere. Bad software. These were rebuilt Jeeps of some lineage. They didn't come out of MK. I think they were Alstom products, but it was by another brand. I'm gonna go pull up the thing in a second here. They had like 25 of these, and these were purchased in the late 90s or early 2000s. I believe that these are likely the last GP40 rebuild passenger units that were made. Although, unless you count the what do you call those? MPI MP32Qs, which were the rebuilt GP40WHs from Mark. So do they count again? Anyway, these were hailed having all sorts of software problems. But the MBTA announced this, like, they had this really weird, like, retirement plan. I'm going to pull it up here real quick, where they were like, "Oh, we're gonna retire all of our F40 PHs." They had both original. The MBTA was one of the Amtrak bought original F40s. The MBTA bought original F40s. Or they were one of the only commuter roads. I think maybe Metra had some. When I say original, like no F40 PH-2 whatever. They were pure just F40 PH. No pony truck, like the HEP came right off the alternator. So they were always running at like full 900 revs. And they were kind of old. They came in the 70s. You can still see. Anyway, sorry, hold on one second. Let me just see if I can pull this up for the retired. I think they might have the retired here. Retire equipment. Blah blah blah. Yes, they had 17 original F40 PHs, number 1000 to 1017, and they ran until 2015. So they would have been 30 years old at that point. Full life for those. They traded those in for the GE Evo derived HSP 46s. They got 40 of those. And I think those have been pretty good for them. Those were, and then I think at that point they realized that because of Tier 4, they were SOL in terms of new equipment. So since then they've been rebuilding all of their old F40 PH-2s that they got in the late 80s to a higher standard. The MCs were rebuilt by AMF. AMF, I'm pretty sure, is what is now Alstom. And they were built, I don't know where they got the parts from, but they had all sorts of software problems. Let's see, general blah, blah, blah. Oh, they were ex-Canadian National GP40 wide cabs. blah, 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 blah. And they are being overhauled by NS. So I thought that those MCs, everybody was saying that the MCs were going to go. The reason I'm talking about this is because after the F40PHs left, everybody assumed that the MCs were going to go because I think there was even a plan. But when they realized what Tier 4 options they had was basically zip, that's when MBTA decided just to rebuild them or have NS rebuild them. So they're fine. I mean, whatever they are, they're fine now. So anyway, I went through a signal sequence here with the for that train departure, just trying to catch all the indications. So here we have it displaying stop and proceed. Oops. Note the little the S board for the speed restriction over the bridge. This should be it displaying approach. And oh, by the way, even with the rule to the CTC upgrade this got, this signal location no longer exists. There's one south of the Brantford station, and then there's the interlocking north of this station. There's no need for any what do you call it, intermediates here anymore. So this should be approach. It looks like it's red, but I'm pretty sure that's approach. Yeah, that's approach. Despite the it'll be interesting to see if this gets how this works with the PTC. MBTA is going nuts with the cab signaling, but at the same point, this is part of the Pan Am or Guildford Freight Main Line. They'll probably be running. They're not going to want to have cabs. They're going to be running with the ITMS PTC system. They can dual equip that, which, SEPTA didn't think was true, but it was. But the question is the FRA going to let Guildford operate in here if they try to go cab signal? So, and the other question is, can they run the Access PTC without cab signals? All sorts of interesting things. And here we have displaying clear. Yeah, it's cheating a little bit to brighten that up that way, but whatever. And last of this set, we have number 1012. Just like I said, speak the devil. Here's one of the original F40PHs that would be retired retired by 2015. So it's 1012 on the bridge. Nice. Oops, don't need that so much. All right, there we go. I think I just did 10 there. Yeah. And which one am I going up to? I think that the next one is just going to be 8. Nope. 41. Okay. Oops. Wait. No, we're good. I did a lot more Boston stuff back in the day. Oh yeah, I love that. I think that there's a new plan for Michigan commuter rail, MI train. I think it's on the that old line. One second. MI train. First service 2022. So there you go. And yeah, it's Detroit proofs the SEMTA on the GTW, blah blah blah. So it looks like it's on the same stuff. What'd they get? Service, blah blah blah. All ex Metrobud gallery cars and Go Transit F59 PHs. Good for them. All right. Yeah. Ooh, that's a little underexposed. I can fix it. There you go. Push that out a little bit. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but so yeah, because this was at the right end of the morning, probably around 8, maybe 9 o'clock, maybe 10, but still pretty early. They had the first train sets were coming out. Either to, I'm not sure if they still had inbound. They would turn as an inbound. So, but they were running at a more advanced schedule than they typically did. Yeesh! Look at that. You can see you can see how that light stand is just all corroded from the salt that they have to put down. Wow. That's impressive. All the salt. So here we have. See, if you see this cab car here, this is one of the Messerschmitts. So MBB, Messerschmitt, something and something else. They tend to make helicopters. In the 1980s, they got an order. They did an order for MBTA. Look, these look completely European, but they're at sort of a U.S. scale. So this looks like a French rail car, like the design, the slab sides, the sort of like fully rounded end here. But these are fully like U.S. spec. So you get this weird hybrid. And I always loved the concept how you'd have these MBB cars made by Messerschmitt running in the trench, passing Orange Line cars that are made by Hawker Siddeley that made the Hurricane. So you had a little Battle of Britain going on every day on a daily basis on the southwest corridor there from out of South Station. I probably should be looking at the photo, the original names for this, but and here we just have the Haverhill station itself backlit. This day was blisteringly cold. This is taken from the mini high. The sun looks warm, but it was not helping. And there's our train coming back. You've got our Boston milepost, 33 miles from North Station. Just remember that, yeah, the Pan Am mileage, which restarts just north of here, would be on their renumbered system from like from Binghamton. But in the MBTA territory, they use the original B&M North Station mileage. For anyone who weren't here initially, I mentioned that the MBTA wisely bought all the Boston and Maine commuter trackage because they were worried that the MBTA, the Boston and Maine, would like sabotage the track, that they would go out one night and like lift up all the rails. There was a lot of animosity back then. Someone told me a story with that. Maybe someone can chime in the chat. Like, there could have the MBTA might have outright eminent domained them. I heard there was a story. God, I heard there was a story involved with that, but I just can't remember it. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I previously described them. They're called ghetto grills, and it was it's like I said. You would think that, oh, it's an overreaction or someone got killed or hurt and then they put them all on. It was a very Boston-y problem that the kids weren't just doing it occasionally. That it just happened it was just became a local pastime for kids to rock trains all over the place in Boston. So they were on for from like the 70s up through the 2000s. Now they've taken them off and it's not a problem anymore. Another beautiful. I really like this picture. I'd love to get this in a rail. I'd put this in railpictures.net, but they don't like track fences. But the lighting here is pretty nice. Although it's a little oddly lit. One thing about they're still using those MBB cars. The main thing is that those are usually the ADA accessible ones. They have bathrooms in them. Most of their other equipment does not, and they're also handicapped accessible. They have the bathrooms, so they make that the handy. It's like if you want to have one bathroom on the train, you make that car the handicapped accessible one because that it's got to. Otherwise, you're gonna need two bathrooms on the train. So they typically run them as the cab car, and they platform them they try to platform them in such a way that they serve the mini highs. 1012 is definitely looking snazzy. Pretty good paint scheme here. Still had 10. I guess it would still have had 10 years left on its run in 2006. There we go. Oops. And the cab. There we go. Just cut that down. It'd be interesting to see if they had cab signals on these. I'm not... They might. You can't quite tell there. For anyone who cares, cab signal pickup antennas are located right in front of the front wheels under the pilot. Sort of like sexing a goose, you know, you just sort of look under there, and if you see the antennas, then it's cab signal equipped. This is my mystery friend up under the mini high. At this point, we're waiting for the Downeaster. So the Downeaster arrival is imminent at this point. We've done our. Maybe we were there. Maybe it was an hour. Yeah, that's right. We were stuck there for an hour. It wasn't that the train sets were frequent, but we had to. I think we gave ourselves an entire headway. Maybe it was an hour. An hour. We were there for a while, and it was cold. So I think we gave ourselves a full headway because if this train was late, we'd miss the Downeaster, and it would be it would be entirely possible for the Downeaster to get ahead of this train and something. So yeah, we had to wait almost an entire headway to reliably make that connection, and I wanted some time to wander around. By the way, so here's another MBB car. MBTA likes having its coaches in the 3-digit series and its cab cars in the 4. So like I said, we can see it's the ADA car because those ones had bathrooms, and that's number 519. And one more of 1012, also backlit. I don't think that he left when we were waiting. I could be wrong, though. Yeah, now it jogs my memory of. I think we had to reach a decision over which train to take, and do we try to make that connection. And I think my friend was basically saying, like, he did planning for the MBTA, and he says, like, those trains can be late. And we did not want to miss our Downeaster. I mean, not like it was a big deal, but at that time they were only running like 4. Today they run 5 round trips. My friend was actually he did the project to get that 5th round trip, but at this point when the service had just started, they were only running 4 round trips, and one of the round trips, and then the bus round trip. And the one that we wanted to do was like the only one that would get us out and back in like the period of the day in a way that wouldn't destroy things. That would let us get the most out of our day. So I just want to check real quick that the roster again to see what's in service with the MBB cars. Yeah, they still looks like they still have, a whole bunch got leased to CDOT, and that's where they had bathrooms. So, oh wow, and they have a whole ton of these. They have more than I think. "96 cab cars, that's crazy. Yeah, it's interesting when you see how many do they really have 175 cab cars? Whatever. Anywho, let's see if we have any questions in the chat. Yeah, the F40s out of Boston did, and the E60s had them. The AEM7s never had them. GG1s didn't have them. I think some of the Poochas had them, though, but I can't recall the exact details. Anyway, I'll be back in 1 week's time probably next Friday. Sorry for the delay. I just don't have a lot of these double days anymore. And we're going to be finishing up the stuff with the Downeaster, set all the way to Portland. Pictures from Portland, some side window stuff, and there you go. Let me think here. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting? Not really. Anyway, yeah, it was a really interesting operation. Just that you'd have this stretch of Rule 251 between Lawrence and the state line there. It's also, I think that is that Lawrence, like, is that old Lawrence platform still there? I think it is. I don't know why it's just crazy they had this old school, that they have that Lawrence platform there. I think the other Lawrence platform's only on one of the tracks. Whatever. Okay, that should be it. And like I said, I'll be back in 1 week. Very most likely next Friday. I'll try to schedule it as soon as I can. So unless I see additional questions, also, okay, whoever's in the chat now, just check back because I lost connectivity. So this is going to get split between two videos. There was a lot of neat stuff that I was able to get out in the first part before it died. So just check back when I get those posted. All right, have a great day and stay cool, and I'll see you in a week.